These are good days. Everything is going good with everything. These are good days. It's going good with everything. It's going good with everything. I know that because these are good days. Everything is going good with everything. These are good days. Good days. Good days.
Welcome to These Are Good Days with Lee Ann Miller.
Matt Barris, why are you pointing at me with your readers?
Well, Matt, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Lee Ann Miller.
Christmas.
Here we are. Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
And, you know, I don't know what you're doing right now while you're listening to this, but I'm picturing the thousands of people that listen to us rapping and cooking and loving and driving places and doing all the things.
It's Christmas Eve.
And I just love picturing our podcast community and wondering what they're doing on Christmas Eve. You know, I think of people of Christmas or of podcast family members gone by. I don't think that we've lost anyone, but I'm thinking of Tina in Cincinnati with her college age kids.
And Joy. Lynette.
Yes.
Well, I call her Joy, but it's Lynette.
And
Lynette.
Shannon and her husband from West Virginia.
Yes.
And Ellie
Grant.
Akey.
Do you think Grant is
Grant
on
Snyder's
his morning
listening.
walk?
Grant's probably lifting weights in the
Yes,
basement.
yes.
You know, I'm thinking about our friend Kat, our friend Mel.
Yes.
You know, all of the people, Maggie and Danielle and hubby
Yes,
Matt and
yes.
my wife Mallory.
Yes.
And not Daryl, because Daryl doesn't listen to the podcast.
Your mom, Francine.
My mom's listening. You know,
Yes.
I'm thinking of all
Your
the
mother
people.
and father-in-law, so sweet.
I know.
My daughter-in-law's listen, which is so also
I know.
so sweet.
Our friend Brenda that was at the live event.
Yes.
You know, there's so many people, when I think about this podcast community, there's so many faces to names. And I love that about the community that we're creating.
Yeah, I do
and I'm
too.
picturing specific people at home with their families listening to the podcast this week. Maybe it's on Christmas Eve, maybe it's after that, but happy Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas
Merry
Eve to
Christmas,
you.
yeah.
Here
We're
we are.
so thankful for you. And listen, if you find it in your heart this Christmas to leave a review or to star our
Do you want me
podcast.
to do background music?
Yeah.
This, you keep talking.
Okay.
You keep talking.
If you
We need to plan this bit a little better.
If you go to Apple and leave a review for us, we would appreciate it so much. And then on Spotify, you can just star us. Give us a 5-star, will you? And if you're going to give us a 4-star, please message us and tell us why it's not 5.
That was good. I think we need to do that more, where I sing and you do the announcements. I
Listen,
love
but
that.
truly, if you will give us a review or star our podcast on Spotify or Apple, we really, truly appreciate it. And shout out to all our Patreon. We
Yeah,
have
that's
to
right.
say thank you to our Patreon. You have taught us this late fall. You have taught us what it means to try something new
Put yourself out
and
there.
put ourselves out there.
That's right.
And we have about 100 of you that are our Patreon family.
That's right.
And we are so thankful this
Totally.
Christmas for each of you.
You know, last week we shared our Christmas menu, and I hope that people are cooking it up.
Yeah.
Even if you only cook one thing from there,
Yes.
please let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Our Patreon, what's really cool about the Patreon platform, if people haven't used it is a community building thing too. What's so fun.
Yeah, you can leave comments
It's
and-
almost, it kind of looks like a blog where people can leave comments and reply to each other. And I love when I pop into our Patreon and I see people talking to each
Yeah,
other,
each other, yes.
in the comments. That's so fun.
And I also
check
love
that out.
I also love that our Patreon, they get a private Facebook group because our Facebook group is very active too.
It is. It is.
love
It's
it.
so fun.
Yeah.
We do have plans for our podcast family level of subscriber. We do have plans to do live like Zoom calls with them.
Yes.
So we will probably be
Yes.
doing that in the new year. Obviously, this fall's been busy, but we plan to do that
Yes.
periodically
Maybe
throughout
January
the
or
year.
February,
And
where we
so
meet.
we would love for you to subscribe so you get all the details on how to hop on a
Yes.
Zoom call with us, because I think that could be a really
Yes.
fun experience. So, yeah.
Well, what was your good day, Matt?
My good day is recently, this didn't happen this week. Full disclosure, we are not recording this like the day before Christmas because it's so busy.
We're not recording this on Christmas Eve. We're
No,
recording
and we're-
this a little bit before
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
So recently, Mallory and I took the kids up to our friend Kat's house. You know, Kat lives in I wouldn't say downtown Cleveland.
No, Gordon Square.
She lives in Gordon Square, Cleveland. Her address is, no, I'm just joking. She lives like a couple blocks away from Lake Erie.
Yes.
But it's in a very cool spot where you
I
can
love
walk
it.
to different restaurants and that kind of thing. And so we went up for a whole day with her, and our kids love Kat. Here's what people may not know. Kat is so intentional. She had these little gift bags
yes.
for our kids at her house. They all had a squishy, like a Nido in it. They all had a chapstick with
Love
a
it.
different holiday flavor.
Got
and
it.
there was something
Yes.
else in there.
Love
Oh,
it.
candy. And there was candy in there. And, you know, she had like art station. She bought a gingerbread house decorating kit, and they did that, and the adults talked. And that was so fun. And then we went to a market in Cleveland that had a lot of makers in it, and we
Yes.
picked up some
Love it.
Christmas gifts.
Love it.
You know, my wife's from Cleveland, and so when we go to those Cleveland maker markets, there's often people making Cleveland themed things,
Yes.
like shirts about the Browns or the Indians or the Guardians, or shirts about the lake and that kind of thing. And so often we'll find gifts for specifically
That's
her
awesome,
family
yeah.
members that love Cleveland. And so we walked around this old warehouse with Kat. We had a lovely lunch at a place called Ninja City. I know Ninja City.
Ninja City. If you are listening.
I had the lo mein. It was great. Mallory had a curry soup that was so good.
I love curry.
So good. So
I
good.
love a good curry.
Spend time
Sign
in
me
fun
up.
places. Yeah.
Sign me up for curry.
Yeah. What about you? What's your good day?
Well, Matt, you know, I don't have anything really specific.
Yeah.
This time of year, I slow down. I
Yeah.
almost get like a big grizzly bear.
No, I know.
Where I like to hibernate a little.
I know.
So I would say my good day. Daryl has been doing trips afar.
Yeah.
So he has been traveling out of town, and last 2 weeks he was in Connecticut. And
That's crazy.
I know. And he said, yeah, we're working on a house. So a guy like executive from like, what is it? Ion Television.
Oh, my word.
Okay, Daryl.
Like, Daryl,
okay.
tell him about.
Yeah.
Hey, oh my gosh, we need to give Daryl cards with our QR code on it to leave in all these big houses.
Yeah, seriously. Maybe they could listen to our podcast. Come on.
This
Come
is a
on,
good
guy.
idea.
Come on.
Pull up Ion Executive.
Yes, pull up. I mean, he wasn't even sure. He's like, well, he was either a former executive there, or maybe he's retired now. I'm not really sure. I'm like, I would be getting all those details.
I know.
Not him.
Come on, Daryl.
Not him.
That's why he is perfect for these jobs.
Yeah, it's true. And yeah, it's so true.
I mean, because
It's
he's
so,
so
true.
like not into that life.
So I love the first 2 days. I've told you this. The first 2 days that he's gone, I'm like, oh, I've got the remote.
That's
I'm
right.
eating cereal for supper.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping until 8,
Oh,
8:30.
ooh.
Like I'm like, I'm gonna
Rebel
live it
without a
up. I'm gonna
cause.
live it up. And then after about day 2, I'm like, I don't like this anymore.
I know.
I want him to come home.
You don't like the
And-
dark either.
No. And so I will say the last 2 weeks when he has come home and we've just been at home together, it has been good days.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been anything extravagant
Right.
or over the top or just,
So-
we're recording this. We're recording this at a time that my kids aren't home yet.
Right.
But they're going to be coming home very, very soon. All of them will all be together.
Right.
And I'm sure that will be my next good day.
Totally.
But for right now, my good day is just an ordinary day with my husband using his chainsaw outside, cutting up firewood, and
Mm-hmm.
and I yell out the window, "Can I make you a plate of food?" And he says, "Sure." It's just
You guys really, really do a good job being empty nesters.
we do.
You do.
We
You
do.
guys
We
function really well
we
like
have.
that.
We really have.
You
And
even, I'm picturing your living room now. Do you guys both sit in your new chairs?
yes, side by side.
So you're sitting on the side. You're sitting on the left side.
What do you mean?
Like you're sitting on the side. Like if your living room's like a U, you guys are sitting on this side together.
We're sitting
And no
on
one's
this.
sitting on the couch.
No one's
or
sitting
the
on the
green
couch.
chairs?
No.
That's
But
so funny.
the recliners are now on the opposite side of where they were.
Yeah.
So our recliners are on the
It just
side of the
feels
front
like
door.
for my feng shui brain, it feels like you're like this.
Well, we're so excited because it's offering more seating in our living room.
It's true.
When the kids come home, everybody's going to have a seat for their
That's
butt.
right.
And it's going to that
That's
will
true.
be so nice.
Every
in fact,
couple could have their little.
Yes, and actually one of my friends that was over recently said, I really like this because this feels like a real conversation room now.
Totally.
Because it kind of goes in a
Like in a
nice
U.
U
Yeah.
of seating.
Yeah.
And so we just really have really embraced the empty nest.
Totally.
I don't even think, I mean, jury's still out of what I would rather call it. I'm not even I think I am not a real big fan of the term empty nest.
Yeah.
I just
I think you need to come up with a phrase.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be right now.
Okay.
I think you need to coin it and write a book and make millions.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Well, I've been thinking about this. The empty nest term has a negative connotation to it.
Sure.
Like now,
Like there's
all of
a
a
void.
sudden, there's this huge empty space. And let's not call it empty. Let's just say we have done a great job raising our children to spread their wings and fly. So I'm not a huge fan necessarily of the term empty nest.
Right.
Because my nest right now is not empty.
Right.
It's
right.
not. I'm filling it with other things.
Right.
Now, are those things as wonderful as my 2 children? No, probably not.
Sure.
But I'm not looking at our home as like this sad place. It's not.
Yeah. Interesting. I watched we'll talk about New Year's resolutions, but this is such a funny thing. People have been talking to Mallory and I. We found ourselves in 3 different groups this holiday season, people talking about shows, TV shows and movies and that kind of thing. And I realized for someone that loves the arts,
I know.
I don't watch TV or movies
No,
anymore.
you don't. I know.
And one of my New Year's
It's your
resolution
children.
is
I blame them.
One of my New Year's resolutions is going to be to watch more TV, which is so
Yes.
funny.
Because
so
there's some shows out there I know you would really love.
I know. Well,
but
the
you're
other night-
stuck in Murder, She Wrote.
No, I'm
And-
actually not
and
even doing that. I'm in
Cheech
right
and
now.
Chong.
I'm in full. How dare you? I've never watched Cheech and Chong. I don't know where that came from, but we are watching Full House right now as a family.
Exactly
Like Danny
my point.
Tanner.
Oh
I know.
my gosh.
But
Isn't that the one Full House? Isn't that the one with the Olsen twins?
Yes. Whatever
my
happened
word.
to
Oh,
predictability?
my word.
Every millennial
See,
sing.
that's what I'm saying.
The milkman,
No,
the
no,
paper
no.
boy.
You need to get with the times.
So I had an opportunity the other night where everybody went to bed and I said to Mallory, she wasn't feeling well. And I said to Mallory, I'm going to watch a Christmas movie by myself.
Oh, what'd you watch?
So I scrolled through, here's the other thing. I like when people tell me what to watch because sometimes scrolling is exhausting.
Yes.
Like looking for something becomes the main event. And then you're like, I'll just look at my phone.
I agree with you.
So I came across this movie that I had never heard of before.
What's it called?
It's called Love, the Coopers.
Oh,
starring, I think it bumped up on the algorithm because it's Diane Keaton is the mother.
What?
Which I love a Diane Keaton motherly role.
Yes.
And John Goodman.
Wait, why haven't we heard of this?
Listen, I think you should watch this movie. Here's what the premise of the movie. It's called Love the Coopers, and I apologize if you watch it and there's something in it that you're not a fan of. I don't remember a whole lot if there's bad stuff.
Right.
But the premise of the movie is the parents are empty nesters. And they've decided to get a divorce, but they're not telling their children.
Okay.
And the children are coming home for one last
Okay,
Christmas.
I did see
It is
this.
so
I did see it.
good.
I did see
It
this.
is it's
I
a
did see this.
star-studded cast.
Because isn't this also where this isn't much of a spoiler, but isn't it where the kids try to like mother her and she's like, hold on a second.
I don't
like
remember-
where
I don't
she's
know.
just like, I'm fine. I'm the mom here. I can make my
I don't remember.
Okay,
I don't
you
know.
don't remember.
I don't
Okay,
know.
okay.
But it's just such a good movie. It's one of those movies that has a lot of stars in it, and it's like different stories that end up crossing paths.
I love
and
that.
you see the
I love
connections.
that.
It
I
was
love that.
really good.
I love
And
that.
I also love A Family Stone. Have you
Listen,
seen The Family Stone?
Yes, I love that
Another
movie.
Diane Keaton
You know,
movie.
another movie that I watched for the first time, and I know you're going to gasp and clutch your chest. I've never watched It's a Wonderful Life.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I know, shocking. I've seen it once.
Okay.
It's not part of my tradition.
Okay. I watched it the other night, and
And?
I cried.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was so good.
It's a good one.
I loved it. I loved the message that it
Mm-hmm.
carried. I thought it was absolutely wonderful.
We have a mutual friend. I think my microphone's falling. We have a mutual friend that was obsessed with that movie,
Uh-huh.
Daryl Rowland. Did you know Daryl Rowland was obsessed with that
I did
movie?
not know that. Daryl Rowland
Daryl
is
Rowland has
not
since
with us
passed
anymore.
away. Yeah.
He's passed away, but boy, what a great man.
What a great man.
What a great guy.
Yeah, I
What
loved
he
him.
he was somebody who I look back on our time with him, our conversations with him, and his influence with such admiration.
Yeah.
He left such a wonderful legacy.
Yeah.
He just started not feeling well.
Yep.
And had a terminal liver disease.
Right. Yeah.
And passed away. And his wife Sylvie, we love her.
Yeah.
She's also a wonderful person who's actually navigating not being with her husband in such a integrity filled, wonderful way.
Totally.
Yeah, so-
Totally. Hey, we're in the middle of our series, The
We are.
Gift of. And this week is the gift of
Jesus.
the gift of Jesus.
We just thought it was apropos. We don't talk about our faith all the time. We don't talk about our faith like in very obvious ways sometimes on this
Yeah.
podcast, but we are both people that have faith. We aspire to, we would call ourselves Christians.
Yeah, totally.
We are not the rude, mean, obnoxious Christians.
Right. You know,
Well, I don't know if the rude, mean, obnoxious Christians though,
Are Christians.
or would think of themselves as rude or mean or
true.
obnoxious.
You know, I want to address that because I think both of us grew up in a faith tradition.
Yes, we did.
That was probably
Very
more
conservative.
where I can only speak for myself, where I felt like there was a lot of hypocrisy. And I think it left me a little jaded, but as I've gotten further and further away, I've gone back to appreciate the things that my faith did give me.
Well,
You know?
I would say that along with that, I got to know Jesus. So that's what changed for me.
Well, it's like you,
I knew
Yeah.
the concept of Jesus growing up. I knew what I was being told to believe.
Right.
I knew all the right scriptures and memorized it even. I mean, I was part of the Awana gang, right?
Oh, same.
I mean, I had a vest.
So did
Did
I.
you
I was a
have
cubby
pins?
and a
Did you have
spark.
pins? Okay, right, yeah.
I was a pal and a pioneer. I even did
So-
JVs or whatever that was called.
Did you do sword drills?
Yeah. Girls, name it and I did it. I did Salty the Singing Songbook plays.
Oh no, I didn't do that.
I did. That was my first solo with third grade.
Oh,
He was
wow.
a big blue book and he sang his heart out for Jesus.
Oh well, he did.
right.
Oh wow. Okay, so when I became an adult, the concept of faith was still there for me, but I would say it became real when I faced challenge.
Sure.
You know, when I faced real hardship in my life, when I felt like it had boiled down to I don't know what else to do. The only thing I have left to do is to really lean into my faith
Yeah.
and the person of Jesus and to start praying diligently and start being more intentional with reading the Bible and just pressing into my faith. That's when I felt like everything changed for me.
Yeah. Tell me about.
I shouldn't say everything. That's when I felt a real shift in my heart and my feelings toward Christianity and Jesus.
Yeah. Tell me about what was not the circumstances, but what was the actual shift prior to that? How did you view Jesus versus how you view Jesus on the other side of it?
I think I view Jesus and my faith as like you go to church, you pray before your meals, you read the Bible, you read a devotional, maybe you read Jesus Calling, you read that day and you say, thanks Lord, thanks for my life, thanks for my health, and you just keep right on trucking.
Do you feel like you had like a conversion moment when prior to that?
That's
I've
a
never
good
asked you this
that's a good
before.
question because I have a different feeling about conversion moments.
Yeah.
Now as a 57-year-old.
But what about in the tradition? Because we grew up in the same tradition.
Right. So
the
in my
language-
traditional faith,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, I had an experience of praying and
Right.
asking Jesus to come into my heart,
Right.
like in junior high, ninth grade, something like that.
Right.
And had this like very emotional, very like, I want Jesus to save me of my sins and come into my heart. But I really didn't quite understand what I was doing.
Right.
I would say fast forward when I was in my late 30s, I feel like that was for me when I knew what I knew what it meant. So
Right.
like I feel like sometimes we get that part of Christian faith in conservative circles anyway. We make it like A plus B equals C. Bow your head,
Totally.
say this prayer like this. Like I was even raised in an environment where you had to say the prayer a certain way in order
Right,
for it to
right.
stick.
Right.
You know, now sometimes I just had this conversation with somebody, more than that. I would probably say 4 years ago. I had this conversation with somebody who was asking me about Christianity, and she was saying like, you know, what is it that makes you different? Because I feel like you're different. I feel like you're different from people I grew up with, or, you know, 'cause she didn't grow up in faith circles. And she's like, you know, what is it that makes you different? Do you feel like makes you different? And I would say, well, I think that my personality is given to being a very enthusiastic, positive person.
Sure, that's fair.
But I also believe that it's probably my faith. It's probably the person of Jesus.
Right.
And she said, well, how do I get something like that? Like, how does that work for me? And I said, well, you know, 20 years ago, I would have told you that you needed to bow your head and you needed to say these words. And I said, now that I'm older and have had more experience within my faith and within the persons of Jesus, I think that you can say, God, if you're there
Yeah.
and you're hearing me and you're real, I would like you to be in my life.
Right.
I would like for you to come into the space where I'm at and show me more of you and show me how to live according to what you have for my life. I mean, there'd be people out there that would argue, well, no, she needs to ask for forgiveness of her sins and for God to forgive her sins and come into her. I believe that we serve and believe in a big enough God that he knows our hearts so profoundly and so thoroughly that we can say, I don't know all the right words to say. I just know I want you in my life.
Right.
I think that we also can have more of a relationship with Christ, a daily relationship with Jesus. I'm so thankful for that. I believe it's a gift. But I do believe when things are going really, really well, sometimes it's easy to just keep right on trucking and not be as close. You know, the Bible says that he's close to the brokenhearted. That Jesus is close to the brokenhearted. I think when we're going through trial and tribulation and hard times, we often, if we aspire to a faith, we often really press in and lean into our faith, and we're diligently praying and we're asking God to show up. I think when things are really, really good, sometimes that we don't foster that relationship in quite the same way.
100%.
I wish it wasn't like that. I wish I wasn't like that, but it's just the way that it is for me personally. But I am this Christmas, I'm so grateful for the gift of Jesus. I'm grateful for the gift of our faith.
Right.
I'm grateful that I have something to believe in that isn't black and white. You know, I think the way I was raised, I was raised, it was all black and white. It's not so black and white.
Nope.
The Bible is very clear about it being a mystery.
Right.
We don't have all the answers.
Right.
We don't know it all.
Right.
And I am now at this age, I'm more at peace with that.
Totally.
I'm more at peace with not knowing. I'm more at peace with if somebody asked me a question saying, you know, I'm not really sure. 20 years ago or 25 years ago, I would have had an answer, but it would have been an answer I was told to believe. And now, you know, I allow for more just mystery.
Yeah. You know, similarly, I would say that I had a faith experience as well. I had a conversion experience where I felt like I saw Jesus and what he did for me in a very fresh way. And I would say that I made that decision at 5. Now, did I know what everything I was saying? No. But the Bible also talks about us working out our salvation and what that looks like.
Right.
And I think in different seasons of life, we see the nuance of relationship. You know, it's similar. Why am I going to cry?
Because this is the Ball Baby podcast.
I think it's similar to a marriage in this. When you commit to a marriage, you know, when you said to Daryl, I love you till death do us part.
Right.
You didn't really know.
Oh, I didn't know I was getting. He certainly didn't know what he was getting into.
You really didn't know what was going to lie ahead.
Right.
Similarly, Mallory and I, when we committed to each other, we couldn't have predicted the big things that came in our life.
Right.
And I think as you go through those things, there's so much nuance to your relationship with Daryl that makes it so rich and so deep. And similarly with me and Mallory, you know, I've said this before on the podcast. When I re-engaged with therapy, my therapist was like, "How are you? You and Mallory are a statistic, because you should not be married after all the things you've been through. You should be divorced by now." You know, and I think that's made our relationship very nuanced and very complex.
Now, when you say nuance, what do you mean?
Nuanced for me, what that means is we don't play. There's much more than what meets the eye. There's a lot more complexity in a positive way, more trust, more life under your belt.
And more things that people just don't see from looking at the surface.
You know, we're not 2D characters that stood up at an altar and made these 2D commitments to each other.
Right.
We've lived life. We've cried together. We've buried parents. Here we go. We buried parents. We've sat through 12-hour surgeries with one of our children. We've, moved homes. We've been through so much. And I think it's similar in a relationship with Christ, where when you, let's say you do make a commitment, let's say you do have a faith structure that says, that you do confess your sins and you say, "God, I know that I need you in my life. I don't know everything that means." But I think as you start down that journey, you start realizing different parts of faith or parts of Jesus that you're like, "Oh, I didn't really realize that when I was 5.
Right.
Or I don't know what it looks like to navigate disappointment in my faith at 40 when I made a commitment when I was 5.
Well, we just had a really good friend of ours, and I won't. This will remain anonymous, but we had a real good friend of ours when we were talking in a group setting that said, "I'm not sure I believe in the actual physical real, there being like a real heaven." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. And they said, "Yeah, I'm not sure that I believe in an actual real, there being an actual tangible real heaven." And I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And I was like, "We have to talk about this more later when we can." And I think because of the way I was raised, you never questioned that, questioned that.
Right.
There was never there's not streets of gold, and you're going to live in a mansion, and you're going to have all these crowns that you're going to lay back at his feet, all of that.
Right.
Like, never did I've
You
never
just
had
wouldn't
somebody.
question that.
Well, and I never had somebody that I truly believe is a true believer, somebody that truly holds on to faith and really grows in their faith, say that. And I was like, "Wait, what? What?"
Well, and I think the hard part for us, as we've navigated our faith and, we've gotten comfortable with certain gray areas, or maybe our politics not aligning with everybody that subscribes to Christianity the way that we do, it becomes a little scary.
Yes.
For me, it becomes scary because I don't want to be written off for challenging certain things that I grew up with. I don't want people to say, "Well," and maybe I need to let that go.
Well, also, here's the reality. There are going to be people, if you question and you say, "I'm going to allow that to be a mystery. I don't really agree with it being that black and white," and people saying, "Oh, they're now starting to water down their faith.
Correct.
They're now starting to become a lukewarm Christian.
Right.
Jesus is going to spit them out of his mouth because he's," which also sounds weird, but and here's what I'll say to that. I would say, expose yourself to some people who you respect, who you love and admire, who are going to truly have a conversation with you and challenge you in ways that know what you believe. There's a difference between being a parrot and saying what, you and I were probably very good parrot. I was a great parrot.
Yeah.
I could say all the right things, all the right verses.
I was 50-50. I was a pretty earnest. I'm a pretty earnest person. Like if I look back at journals, actually,
but what I mean by that, I'm earnest too. But I had all the answers that I was taught, but I didn't I didn't have a conversation with anyone that was challenging that belief.
Oh, like critical thinking almost.
Yeah, no, there was no critical thinking. Like
Right.
these 6 people, Bible teachers,
Right.
Awana leaders, pastors, have told me that this is the way it is, and I have just soaked it all in and said, yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been around people saying, well, have you ever thought that it might be this way?
Sure.
Have you ever thought that when that verse says that it may mean this? And I'm like, wait, no.
Right. Well, and
know.
I think, to the topic that we're talking about, the gift of Jesus is one that I believe in a God, and we both subscribe to the Trinity, that God is the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. I believe that God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit are bigger than our questions. And I'm not scared
Right.
of when we question things.
Me
And I'm
either.
not scared of having gray area.
Actually, I think that Jesus is disappointed if we don't.
Possibly.
Seriously. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that when I started really questioning him, when I was going through a hard time and really saying, like, are you even there? Are
Right.
you even real? Do you even care? Is this really real?
Right.
Are my prayers just hitting the ceiling?
Right.
When I started pushing against my faith is when I felt my faith became so real and
Right.
so true.
Right.
So I feel like we're welcomed by the person of Jesus and by God to question and to wonder.
Right. When you think about the gift of,
If you've got it all figured out,
yeah,
if you think you've got it all figured out and you've got all the answers and you're 100% correct, I'm going to have trouble listening to anything you say.
that's fair. That's fair.
Truly.
Yeah.
Like we have to be open to getting some of the things wrong.
Right. Totally. When you think about the gift of Jesus, what are the things that having faith as a part of your life, what are those things that have been really positive for you? That if someone was on the other side of this that was like, I don't know about all this faith stuff, but if you would say, but this is what it looks like. Why has faith or a relationship with Jesus been something that's so positive for you?
Well, because I feel like when I pray and when I'm earnest in my faith and I pray and I petition God, I feel in my heart something different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when I talk to you or when I talk to my kids or my husband or Mallory or Kat or Emily, people that I love and cherish. It's not like when I talk to friends. Like, it's
Right.
not like when I call up my friend
Or a therapist.
I call up my friend Pauline and I'm like, hey, let's talk about everything we're grateful for today. It's not like that.
Right.
There's a different feeling that pierces my heart and soaks through my heart when I am in community and when I am in prayer with Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, when I do things that are fruit of the Spirit driven, like love, joy, peace, generosity, all those things, when I do those things, it fills me with something different. So I know that it's something supernatural.
I love that. I think for me, it's the gift that Jesus has been in my life is everything that you said, that it is something, there's something different about it, but also there's a grounding that it brings to my heart and to my life that I don't think you get from other things. I think we live in I hate when people say this. We live in a time, but it's always been a time because
So true.
people have always been people.
The season we're living in now.
Sure. People have always been people. However, there is a grounding and a peace that you find that I have found in Jesus that you can't find in other things. You
Even
can't
when
find
you're
in-
going through a tough time.
Totally.
There is that presence of feeling that he's there, that he's aware.
Totally.
That's what I feel.
Totally. I so support that. I think for me too, in those times of stress or of distress, Jesus has just provided a compass of hope
Yeah.
out
Right. Yeah.
out of those things
Yeah.
and a like an anchor to latch onto
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
you can't describe
Yeah,
it.
and then when you're in relationship and you're praying and you're petitioning and you're asking God for things, and then He brings something that comes along that you say, not only is this an answer to my prayer, but it's far better than I could have planned for myself. It just confirms my faith. It's a confirmation of my faith.
Yeah.
So yeah, the gift of Jesus is a real thing in my life.
Totally. Same for me. You know, I think if you're on the other side of this microphone and you're like, what are they talking about? I think exactly what you said in this podcast is if you have felt maybe this is your sign, or maybe this, you know, language I would use around faith is this is your nudge from the Holy Spirit, is maybe it's something you've thought about before that you're like, oh man, it's always been in the back of my mind, but I've never embraced it.
And I've never really known how. Like if you're not raised in church, you're like, what does it mean? Like, you know, we've been bought by the blood. That sounds so weird.
Don't get hung up on that. Yeah, and don't worry about that right now.
No.
But here's what I would say.
If you want if you want his presence, if you want to feel his presence, or you want to know more.
Pray. I would say to you, I would say pray how you know. Pray what you're feeling. Pray what you're thinking. Yeah. And I believe that God will meet us where we are. You know, 100%. When it comes to, I think when it comes to the formulas of faith and you have to do things a certain way, I think that takes God's sovereignty out of it. You know, when there's so many big questions about faith that we're not going to get into, but the why do bad things happen to good people? Why did this person get this illness? Why did this person pass away? Those types of things. You know, either I'm going to believe that God is sovereign enough to handle it all, or I'm not.
Right.
And so I think sometimes as Christians, we do get hung up on I have all the right answers, where that takes the sovereignty of God away, where it's like, hey, I'm going to trust that God knows what he's doing because he's bigger than my brain.
Yes.
He's bigger than me knowing the answers to all of these things. And so if I trust that God's sovereign, I'm going to trust that he's going to meet people where they are.
Explain the word sovereign.
Sovereign to me means that God has power and control over things, that he's bigger than our questions, that he has
a path. A path written out for us in a way.
And so I think if I'm going to believe that God's bigger, that he's something worth believing in, that he's something worth giving a life to, or giving your hope to, or your thoughts, I'm also going to believe that when somebody prays and they don't pray it in the way that a pastor says, that he's bigger than that too.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he sees our whole heart.
Is if I think God's huge and the creator of the universe, that I'm not going to get hung up on nuances.
Right, that you have to say a certain thing.
Correct. Yeah. And so I think that's where I'm like, we're either in or we're not.
That's good.
We're either going to believe that he's going to take care of it, or we don't.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
So that's kind of where I hang my hat when it comes to matters of faith, especially at the ripe old age of 40.
That's right.
Because I feel like as I've gotten older, I have more questions than I have answers. And I think God's comfortable with that. I think he's okay with it.
I know he is, because I feel it in my heart, and I feel like he knows me better than even I know myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's like, yeah, she's coming along. She's come a long way.
Yeah. That's funny. You know, at this holiday season, maybe you are celebrating Jesus and his birth today, or maybe you aren't. And wherever you are on that spectrum, our hope is that you found your way here for a reason to our podcast family. And we're so thankful that you're here.
That you feel welcomed and loved. Yes.
Yeah, that's our hope.
Yes.
You know, before we go, it wouldn't be a podcast episode without us talking about one very important thing.
Let's talk about food. Okay, things we're planning to make when the kids are home.
Yes.
Which they're home right now when this airs. We're going to be making thumbprint cookies.
Praise.
We're going to be making the almond brittle toffee. We're going to be making some form of mashed potatoes.
Yes.
We're going to be making crab legs and filet.
Yes.
You know, or tenderloin. We also are going to be making the maple syrup candied carrots. They're everybody's favorite. And then I did something a little different. Fishwife, if you are listening, I did something a little different this year.
We did talk about this.
Yes, and you cannot get this at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market, but I ordered the ultimate holiday package from the Fishwife.
Yeah.
And it's 10 fish. And so we're going to enjoy that one evening with a baguette, toasted baguette, and some crackers, and we're just going to have a little 10 fish feast. I will say that the fresh meat counter at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market has such lovely things this time of year. Lovely.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say. no doubt here in the next week, 2 weeks, you're going to be seeing people, usually between Christmas and New Year's or around that time, you're going to people's houses, you're celebrating something. Walnut Creek Cheese has little gifts you could pick up to take with you.
Yes,
maybe
true.
the person you're going to their house, they told you don't bring anything, just come. My little secret advice to that is bring something.
Yes.
And it could be a candle.
Sterling Candle Company's carried at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market.
It could be tea towels from
Yes.
their
It could
section.
be nuts, mixed nuts. The
Yeah.
mixed nuts are beautiful there.
Totally. It could be maybe you make a candy bowl. Remember when you made candy bowls?
Listen, their bulk food
Can you
candy.
make a candy bowl this Christmas just for old times' sake?
Their bulk candy at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market is amazing. And what I used to do when the boys were home is I used to get a trifle bowl.
Yeah.
It was big.
Or like a punch bowl almost.
And I would layer it with the
Yes.
different candies from Walnut Creek Cheese and Market. It was so good.
Please.
It was.
I'm coming to your house over the holidays. And I would love to see.
Okay, you would love to see a candy
Yeah.
bowl. Okay, I can
Just
make it happen.
with the old staples.
Yes.
The Reese cups.
The Reese cups, the malted milk balls,
Well,
the
I skip
chocolate covered
those.
peanuts, but I do
Yes.
love the malted milk balls.
I know because you love chalk.
Yeah,
you love eating chalk.
Yeah, but they have really good They have really good like
I
the
know.
chocolate covered almonds.
Oh, you know what else I love?
Your mouth
Those
is watering.
little pieces of Heath covered in
Yes.
chocolate.
Oh, those are good.
Those are so
good.
So Walnut Creek Cheese and Market has everything you need, whether you are entertaining in your home
Yes.
or you're going somewhere else.
Yes.
You can pick up the things that you need, or you can pick up a little
Yes.
Cersei
we,
gift.
We
to
love
take
them.
To
We
people's
have
house.
loved. What's the saying you're saying?
We've loved them long and we loved them strong.
Yes, it's so true.
We
We've loved
loved them
for
for
years.
a long time.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Walnut Creek Cheese and Market. We are so thankful for your support of
yeah.
These Are Good Days and
Merry
just being one of our
Christmas,
friends.
yeah.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year. Actually, we'll be here before New Year.
Yes,
7,
we
8,
will.
9, 10, 11.
I think so.
I
Close
think
to
we're
it.
here on Christmas or New Year's Eve.
Oh my
How about
word.
that?
How about that?
Well, thank you so much for joining us in this episode all about the gift of Jesus.
Yes.
Our hope is that maybe this conversation made you think about faith a little differently.
Yes.
And truthfully, if it did, we would love to hear from you. You can
Yes.
find us both on Instagram. Leanne is at Leanne Miller, and I am at Hey Matt Barris. And we would love to have further conversation
Yes.
with you if this piques something in your brain. Whether ordinary or extraordinary, we hope you see that these are good days.
This episode brought to you by Walnut Creek Foods.